Greetings folks, Daniel Wickwire here, and welcome back to Monster Bytes, where we discuss various facts and trivia about kaiju and monsters in all forms of media. And welcome to part 2 of this series covering Goji video games. This time we will mainly be looking at games for the NES and Game Boy, and I say mainly because we have another unofficial title and one that I forgot to mention last time. Anyhow, let's get this started. Oh, and thanks again to Zilla 2006 Able for the suggestion. First, the title I neglected to mention last time. The Movie Monster game, released by Epyx in 1986 for the Apple II and Commodore 64. You have 5 knockoff monsters to choose from. The Glog, which is the Blob, Spectra, which is supposed to be Mothra, but the official artwork more closely resembles a wasp or fly, Mechatron, which is our Megatron reference, Tarantus, of course you have to have a giant spider, and Mr. Meringue, which is our Stay Puft Marshmallow Man analogy. They even went above and beyond and got the rights from Toho to officially license Godzilla for this game, which is the reason it's on this list, right? There are 6 different cities you can play through, each with unique landmarks, along with 5 game modes, which should keep you plenty busy. There are some interesting touches, like every level starting out like you're watching a film at the theaters, complete with advertisements and everything before you play. Now, it is time for the game, the best Godzilla game, and my favorite, Godzilla Monster of Monsters for the Famicom or Nintendo Entertainment System. Made by Compile and released in Japan in 1988 and in the US in 1989. For those of you that don't know, it is a side-scrolling action game where you take Godzilla and Mothra through 8 different planets. Each planet adds a new enemy kaiju as well as keeping the ones from the previous stage. There are also 8 kaiju including Gojira, Mogera, Hedorah, Mechagodzilla, King Ghidorah, and then some. You can level up your kaiju, which increases your life bar, energy bar, and health regeneration rate. With full, absolute bias, I really recommend you try this game somewhere. The Japanese version even has some chiptune renditions of Ifukube music in it as well. And the icing on the cake, there is even a creepy pasta version of the game in development, which I promise you we will cover at a later date. These next 3 are going to go pretty quick. Godzilla for the Commodore 16 is an unofficial Hungarian runner game. You pretty much play as a T-Rex that looks nothing like the King of the Monsters. You dash through a cemetery, avoiding obstacles and the like to get the high score. Circus Caper is another action game made by Toho for the Famicom/NES back in 1989. The only thing to note from this one is a special appearance from Rodan and Godzilla in certain bonus stages. Next is Revenge of Shinobi for the Sega Mega Drive or Sega Genesis, depending on where you're from. Released by Sega in 1989, it is notable for having several unusual boss fights, including fighting Spider-Man, who transforms into Batman at the end of Stage 6, and Godzilla being the boss to conclude Stage 7. He is modeled after his appearance from Mothra vs. Godzilla from 1964, minus his trademark dorsal spines, of course. Lastly is Godzilla, aka Gojira-kun, Great Monster March for the Game Boy, released by Toho in 1990. This is the sequel to Gojira-kun, which we mentioned in part 1 of this series. It is very similar to the original. You must destroy all the boulders to proceed through the maze. You will still encounter other kaiju that will try to stop you, and your goal, depending on which version you are playing, is to save either Vegeta, Goji's girlfriend in the Japanese version, or Minya in the international release. Have you folks played any of the games we mentioned this time? Were you even aware some of them existed? Leave your comments below and maybe a suggestion of what you'd like to see in the next video. Don't worry, I'm going to give you a little break from Godzilla games. We'll do something different in 2 weeks. Don't forget to check out the KMR Facebook page, Twitter account, my Twitter account, and everybody else's to keep up with news on this channel. I'll put important links in the description below. Thank you all for tuning in. We will be back in 2 weeks with the next episode. Take care.